Are you thinking about one of the Blackstone griddles to use either at home or in your camper? Well, I'm going to find out just how well it'll work in this episode of Travels with Delaney. Welcome back, everyone. So for the last 2 years, I have used the Coleman Fold and Go grill. And if you saw that video, which I'll link at the end of this one, you know that I really like that grill. It was very versatile. It was a 3-in-1. You could use it as a cooktop, you could use it as a griddle, or you could use it as an actual grill. But we've kind of put it through its paces the last 2 years, and I was actually looking for something with just a little bit larger cooking space and to where I could cook multiple things at one time. So I'd been reading about these Blackstone griddles, and they seem to be very popular and get great reviews. So I finally broke down and bought one. Now I picked this one up at our local Walmart store. This is the 17-inch. Now I went with the smallest one they make so that we can fit it in our New Camp Tab 400 in the outdoor storage. This is actually a 12,500 BTU unit. It has about 268 inches of cooking space, and according to the box, you can do up to 12 eggs or 12 slices of bacon, 4 steaks, 9 chicken breasts, 9 hamburgers, the list goes on. Point is, even though it's a fairly small footprint, you can put a lot of food on it at one time. So let's go ahead and get this thing unboxed and see what it looks like. All right, I have it out of the box, so let's go ahead and see what it comes with. First, you're going to find a propane regulator. Now, this is actually going to use these small cans. You can buy an adapter kit if you want to hook it up to your RV tank. It also comes with these 4 little rubber feet that we're going to install on the bottom. Here is our actual cooking surface. And then here is the actual cooking unit. Now this particular model is a new model called the Adventure Ready unit. And the main difference between it and most of the Blackstone 17-inch models that are out there on the market is they all have a built-in grease tray right here that slides in. This is a new model that uses an external grease drip tray that goes on the back. Now I kind of like that because I prefer not to have that grease down in where the flame is. I like the fact that it's going to be on the back and I can just take it off and empty it. The other nice thing is these Blackstones from the videos I've watched allow you to store things. Now you can see here, not the Blackstone brand, but I bought this spatula kit and a water bottle and a scraper to use, and a lot of that will store right in there when we're traveling. The other thing that I went ahead and picked up was the cover and the carrying case for this. That way when I go to put it away in the outdoor storage, it'll all be nice and tidy. So let's go ahead and get the griddle portion. And again, right there you can see they're kind of showing you the amounts of food. Now, here's what the backside looks like, and it has these 4 feet. They're going to fit right into the 4 holes, just like that. Now, the drip pan will just literally hang off the back, and you can just scrape your grease to the back as you're cooking. So I'm kind of excited about that. Now, before we get any further, I think most of you are like me, you may be worried about measurements. So the way this is going to store is, again, we can put everything right down in, and then this just flips upside down for storage purposes. Okay, like that. Now let's go ahead and take, and somewhere here, I have a tape measure. Let's take a quick measurement. So I'm going to go all the way from the front here. I'm going to tilt this down so you can see. I'm going to measure from here because, again, if you're storing this in your trailer, you're going to have to take into account that button. So it looks like we have about 19 inches. Now I think they actually advertise 17, but that's not taking into account this front control knob. And then from side to side, we're looking just a little over 17, maybe 17 and a half. And closer to 18 if you take into account where you connect your propane regulator. So I'm going to go with this thing's really about 18 inches wide, 19 inches deep. Now as far as the height, let's go ahead and get those feet installed before we measure that. Installation on the feet is actually very simple. These actually just they're already threaded for you, and all we have to do is just screw them on. Now the nice thing is, if the height is an issue as far as getting it in and out of your outdoor storage compartment, theoretically these could be uninstalled very quickly. I'm hoping that we won't have to do that. There we go. Feet are installed. We'll flip it back over. Let's go ahead and set our top right back on. And now we're going to take a height measurement. And again, to be fair, I'm going to look at the entire height up to where these feet are, and we're looking at about 7 inches in height. The other thing is, once we put it into the bag, my guess is we're going to be a little bit bigger as well, just because anytime you put it into a bag, it gives you a little bit more. But overall, I feel pretty good about this. Now, as far as how the propane regulator works, we're just going to pull off this little plastic cap that protects it, probably keeps dust out. It just slides on, and then it screws on. And then we just attach our propane tank. Let's go ahead. We're going to flip this back over, set the feet into the holes. And what I really liked about this was it actually has a built-in lighter. So let's see how well that works. There we go. It's lit. Now, before we can actually start using this, one of the first things we have to do is we're going to have to season the actual griddle. Now, I'm sure if I read the instructions, it's going to tell me I can do it right on the cooking surface. And the way we season any kind of cast iron is we're going to add oil, and then we're going to let it heat up, and then we're going to continue to add oil, and we're going to go through that process. But I watched another YouTube video where the gentleman in that particular video, he actually put the whole griddle right into his oven. And the reason he did that was he found, based upon watching other YouTube videos, that typically what happens is when you season it right on here, you'll get some real dark spots. And he wanted to get a nice, even seasoning, so he went ahead and did it in his oven. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to take this griddle on inside, and we're going to season it in my oven. Now, what I saw from his video is it's very important that you have your windows and screens open because it is going to get smoky inside. So if you don't want to do that method, you don't have to. You can actually season it right on here. Let's head inside. Now I'm inside. I had the oven preheating to 450. That's the temperature that I'm going to use. And then the book or the manual actually gives you different options for oils to use. But I've opted to use this extra virgin olive oil that I get at Aldi of all places. It's organic and we really like it. So the other thing that I've learned through watching other people's YouTube videos is paper towel is not necessarily a good way to spread the oil out on the griddle to get it ready for seasoning. So I'm just going to use a clean dish towel, and let's go ahead and get the camera repositioned here. So we're going to bring it down so you can see what I'm doing versus seeing me. You don't really need to see me. So all we're going to do is I'm going to spread out some of this oil. And And I'm just going to start rubbing it in. Now, first thing I had done as soon as I brought it in was I had wiped it down really good, just to make sure the cooking surface was clean. But I didn't figure you wanted to see that. So I'm just going to go ahead, get this all rubbed in. And I'm going to go ahead and make sure I do the sides really good. I'm even going to do the outsides of it. Just get this whole thing seasoned up really nice. And again, you don't need to put on tons of oil. This is one of these things where a nice thin layer to start with, because we're going to do this in stages. I'm going to put it in for 30 minutes the first time, and then I'm going to pull it out and re-oil it. And then we're going to go ahead and put it back in for another 30 minutes, re-oil it, and then I'm going to do a final 1 hour in there, and that should season us up pretty good. The nice thing about cast iron, and I've used cast iron before, is you will season as you cook. So there's some foods, obviously like bacon, that work really well. In fact, my wife asked me if I was going to use bacon just to season it. But we're going to go ahead and start with the olive oil for this actual seasoning process. But don't worry, like I said, it will season, continue to season as you cook on it. All right, there we go. Now, as soon as the oven's ready, we're going to throw this inside our oven for 30 minutes at 450 degrees. Okay, it's been 30 minutes. I'm going to pull this out. Now this thing's going to be really hot when you pull it out. So make sure you're using something like the UB glove. And now I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more oil. And again, you want to be very careful. Actually, probably a better practice, just from a safety standpoint, grab yourself a set of tongs. You can hear that sizzling. This way you don't have to risk burning yourself. All right, there we go. Just set this aside. Carefully, we're going to set it back in here. Set the timer for another 30 minutes. Okay, that was the second 30 minutes, so let's go ahead and pull it out. Add some oil. Go ahead and use our cloth again and just coat it for a final time. Okay. Now this time what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to flip it upside down, so that the bulk of that heat is going to the cooking surface. And we're going to leave it in for about 1 hour this time, and that should finish up the process. All right, it's been a full hour, so we're going to go ahead and pull this out. You always want to be very careful. It's going to be hot. There we go. Let's go ahead and take a look here. Bring this a little bit closer. And you can see we've got a real nice even brownness. So now we'll just let that cool down, and the next step's going to be to fire up the Blackstone and try it out. there you have it, our brand new Blackstone Adventure Grill. We'll definitely be using this summer on the trip, so we'll make sure we check in with you on another video to show you more ways to cook on it. But based upon this first night of cooking those vegetables, I'm really impressed. If you have any comments, questions, or recipes that you want to share, drop them down below. And until next time, everyone, we'll see you on down the road. Good night.